Alrighty, let's call this the meeting order. Please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3, any citizen desiring to be heard. Hang on, we got one walking in. Any citizen desiring to be heard? Hearing none. Item 4, consideration of possible action to approve minutes for April 14th, 2020.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I would ask for a slight change in that reading to August 14th from April.
Well,
I'm sorry. August.
And I will second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. It almost looked like April.
It did. It did. It was summer's almost over, so that would be good.
So Troy, if I understood you right, there's no action on item 5 on the final plan.
Correct.
So no action on 5 today. Item 6, received by monthly report from David Ball, Emergency Management Director. Thank you, David.
You're welcome. Highlights. Last.
So David, we talked before the meeting and you haven't heard anything on the CED?
I didn't see that CDC over the weekend. That wouldn't surprise me, but
So out of 148,000, they say 9,000 have died instead of 148,000 died of COVID-19.
Oh, well.
So the numbers were off slightly, I guess, you know, so.
shucks.
If you were exposed and died of cancer, you're not counted as a COVID death anymore?
I think they've come back and changed some of that, is what I hear.
I needed to.
A lot of things floating around.
yeah.
Got anything else you want to add to this, David?
No, I mean, that's kind of the highlights.
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second with one request. What are the outcomes on these? Looks like you have several first responder conference calls. What are those about? And what are the?
So what we've been doing with those, every other Friday we've been calling, and it's basically our folks from here. So if anybody has any concerns or questions, we've had Maggie from the health department and Brandon from the health department. So if, like our last call, I was asked about if I knew how the schools were going to be testing the teachers, and I didn't know that. And Maggie from the health department had an idea, but they weren't sure. So we've just been meeting bi-weekly for all of our folks here, that if anybody has any questions, concerns.
Yes. So the title is a little bit misleading then. So it's not a conference call with all of our first responders in the county,
Well, it's been,
or is it?
our last call has been, usually the sheriff is on there.
Okay.
We've had some of our different fire departments at different times. There hasn't been anybody on our calls the last few of them. But it was Maggie from the health department, Damon, Mike Simpson from Guthrie Schools, Tandy Hastings from the nursing home, one of the nursing homes in town, Claire Denning from another nursing home in town. And there was like one or two more that I can't remember.
Okay.
We've been averaging 7 to 10, I would say. Some weeks it's a little more, but somewhere along in there, 7 to 10 each time we've done it.
Okay.
And it gives, I know like the nursing homes have asked the health department just different questions. It gives them an opportunity to have somebody from the health department. Obviously, they don't have to wait every other week for our call. They can call the health department anytime, or call me anytime if they have questions, or call whomever. But it just keep it information flowing and different things. But let's say we're average 10, give or take.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right.
I'll second.
I had a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 7, consideration and possible action to approve schedule of expenditures of federal awards, CFA, report for 1920.
So this is one of the deals that the auditor office has asked for every year. I got with Sherry in the treasurer's office and Troy, and to the best of my knowledge, what's listed on there is what we've received federal funds between June 1st, 2019, no, July 1st, 2019 and June 30th, 2020. And this is one that usually when the auditor comes, they'll find something. They always seem to do, but
Good job.
yes. I think they find something on every county, but
If I could add, this is a federal government requirement. This reflects federal dollars, and it's done because if we receive so much, and I think it's at now 750,000 in a year, it requires a different type of audit. So we have to file that so the state knows what kind of audit they have to perform based on the amount of federal dollars we receive.
we were under the 750, so.
I remember that from last year, because that was one of the questions that was asked. How much money did you get? I move we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Item 8, consideration and possible action to approve emergency management performance grant for fiscal year 2021.
So this will be a continuation. It'll still be the $20,000 grant that we've received in the past. Pretty much everything is pretty much the same as far as requirements. I don't feel any issues not being able to meet those requirements. I just need your guys' autograph to approve so I can send this in.
Can you briefly summarize the requirements for?
Yeah. So what a few of the things is we have to be part of a LEPC or an all hazard group meeting. Have to keep the minutes and sign-in sheet and the agenda item for those. Send those in quarterly. 2 tabletop exercises, 1 full-scale exercise. And I do public events as I'm asked. I'm usually asked a couple of times a year to go to like Rotary, Lions, church groups, different things like that. Haven't done any of those recently because of the virus stuff.
Right.
But
Is that a requirement for the grant?
yeah, well, public speaking events, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they specify how many?
No.
Sort of stuff?
No, they just want to see that you're out and doing. You know, and so like I said, I usually.
Well, this would count as public speaking because you're actually speaking to the public now, right?
Great. Yes. So it's usually, I usually do 2 or 3 of those a year, different places to get asked to go do. Then we have to have well, one of the new things is they want to know when events are happening in the county. And typically, I mean, when we have large wildfires and different things, I'm in contact with the state, but not all counties do that. So, you know, just to keep the state in the loop on those deals. But I don't see any reason why we won't meet the criteria to get the $20,000. So
Okay.
I appreciate you signing it, and I'll get it turned in. And it'll start October 1st.
Thank you, David. I move we
Thanks,
approve
David.
item 8.
Second.
Thank you.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Item 9, consideration and possible action to approve resolution accepting $925.62 payment from ACO SIG for damages to a 2014 Honda CR-V belonging to the Logan County County Assessor's Office.
They had a rear end damage to that vehicle. That check will be deposited to their account to get the repairs done.
It must have been a minor
It was.
issue because
Back to
$925 don't go very far anymore on auto repair.
I think tail light
Top
and
paint.
quarter panel damage is what it amounted to.
I'll make a motion we approve.
Second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Item 10, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution accepting $4,140 donation from Redbud Lane and Pine Ridge Road Association to District 2 for approximately 460 tons of gravel. I guess my only question, Mike, would be, is that county maintained?
Correct. Yes, that one was accepted well before I was a commissioner. And so, yeah. So, you got a HOA there, you got Bill Cook is the president of it. They got their funds together and wanted to purchase some rocks, so there we are.
So that's at $9 a ton, if I did the calculations right. So that's about what it costs us to buy it now, so. I move we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Item 11, consideration and possible action to accept county treasurer's transcript of proceedings and approve county deeds to Randall Pluto for the following resale properties.
The transcripts are board signatures. The deed is chairman's signature.
So are these final sales?
These are properties that came back to the county through the resale process due to
Right.
failure to pay, and
Right.
they now will go back on the tax roll.
Good.
I was just curious, because, I mean, I guess there's some process where some of the taxes get picked up by a person and can be paid by the owners. and-
That process changed quite several years back, what
Yeah.
was called tax certificates.
Yes,
And we used to be able, a tax certificate, you could come in and pay up the taxes and keep them paid for 3 years, and if the property owner didn't redeem, then you could lay claim. Tax certificates were done away with several years ago.
so now what happens if someone is delinquent in their taxes?
They don't pay for a period, I believe it's 4 years now.
Right.
It goes to a resale, which is the first Monday in June of every year. And it is publicly auctioned.
So can a person run 3 years in arrear
Yes.
in perpetuity and not go to
Correct.
resale?
And I believe Sherry will tell you, we have several of those that every June or end of May will run in and pay the minimum to stay out of the sale.
Is that something that we would want to consider? We've got another item on our agenda to talk about legislation changes. Is that something that?
This last one doesn't have all three of us.
No, I said that's just for the chairman. Marvin, that would be something with the Treasurers Association, I think, and I don't know that it would get changed. I will say that Logan County is fortunate. Sherry says that we stay collected at about 98% of all taxes due, so that's phenomenal.
Right. Well, I guess, I understand what you just said, but I also believe that even though it's something that is processed by one of the elected officials, it is a responsibility of the Board of County Commissioners to make sure that taxes are collected in a timely manner as well. And that's why I asked if maybe that's something that the board might look at.
Okay, I don't know that I can give you an answer. Sherry would be able to give you more information, I think
Right.
is what I'm trying to say.
I guess that's kind of where I was
Yeah.
going with that as well. Right. I move we approve item 11.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Item 12, consideration and possible action to identify Logan County legislative request to ACO.
Well, that was one of them. No, one of the things that that I want to bring forward is a request to once again modify the language around the CIRB funds and how those are allocated. I've got language written up. I didn't bring it to the board today, but I've got it written up, and I will send it to the county clerk, and she can distribute it to the rest of the board. But basically, it changes the language to allow to split the CIRB funds between the 77 counties instead of the 8 ODOT regions or divisions. But the funds would still be held by ODOT to the credit of the county, and that the contracts can be let by either ODOT or a Board of County Commissioners. So at that point, if there's no federal funds involved in the SERB project, then the Board of County Commissioners should be able to contract and use that money to contract for road and bridge repairs out of our own county contracting, using the county purchasing requirements and contracting requirements. I mean, we do that every day with our other projects, and I think this would allow us the latitude, allow the counties that want to manage the funds the latitude to do that, and would also allow the counties that want to have ODOT and CEDs manage those projects for them to do that as well. It would allow both. So that's one piece of legislation that I think that we need to bring forward. And I'll send it to you guys, and we can look at it at the next meeting and discuss that, and that's what I would recommend.
So would ODOT still get 12.5% right off the top just for holding the funds?
Not necessarily, no. Not unless they did the contracting and the inspection and that sort of stuff.
So they get paid per contract?
They get paid, if it goes through the CEDs. See, the CEDs also take 6% out, and then ODOT gets 6%, and then it's kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But if it is allocated to the 77 counties, and then those counties are able to pool together in a CED like some of the others do, pool that money, and they can still, do their magic however they want to do that. But it also allows a county to opt out of that process. And for example, there's a lot of roads that we have in our county, asphalt roads, that need overlay, that need patched and overlaid. And I know that the deep patching contract that we had was very expensive, but it works. It works really well to go in and do a 6 or 8 inch deep patch, and then come in and put a 2-inch overlay on. Looking at the numbers for that first mile of Broadway that we did, that's going to come in just under $300,000. I mean, because it was pretty expensive to do the deep patch, because there was a lot of it needed to be done. Those rock trucks just rutted it out really bad. So we fixed the ruts, and we just finished the 2-inch overlay that we put on, and that's going to come in at about $265,000, I think. By the time I get it striped, it's going to be about $270,000. But that's still cheaper than $2 million a mile. That would cost if we had ODOT come in, because they would make us do environmental studies and redo the ditches and all that stuff. And the ditches are fine right there for what we need to do. And so we would be able to pave and overlay 10 times the amount of miles on county roads using that and a county contract to do that kind of work with. So that's...
Well, I had a bridge project just let on the ODOT contract, and the low bid, I don't know, 800-something thousand, I think top was 1.5. So, I mean, the same way, we could probably build it for, 100, so it'd save a lot of money. I'm good with it.
Some of those big ones, though, you don't really have an issue. There's always the safety issues that the state brings up. A lot of these county roads are not brought up even to ASH 2 standards, which is what all the counties have signed on to as the standards And so I understand exactly where you're coming from. We need it for repairs for the roads that the county has done that may not meet those kind of specs, but yet and still we are needing it for maintenance and repair. And so I wholeheartedly agree with you, Marvin, that that is what we are needing. My question is whether we'll be able to persuade the legislature to do that. So we'll see, I guess.
They won't do it if we don't ask.
Yeah, I agree with you. All they can do is say no. I have an item that I brought up last time, and we can discuss it at the next meeting if you wish. I made some copies of everything I have. These are emails from Ray Vaughn and myself, and it has to do with the border roads. And when 621 was modified in 2018, I believe it was, or maybe it was before that, but regardless, we were of the persuasion, because of the efforts of Andy Graw and Greg Street, they changed the legislation that the two counties on a border road could get a contract together to do construction on that road that would be equitable versus equal. And unfortunately in 622, that language was not changed, and it should have been modified at the time per Ray Vaughn, which is in the email. Now, for more than 30 years, I'm certain, Oklahoma County has had Waterloo Road on their inventory, and they've been receiving the gasoline tax for both sides of the road for maintenance purposes. In this particular instance, why now they are saying that no, they don't either, and so that's contentious according to Lowell. Why we do have an agreement wherein that would be equitable versus equal. He agrees with that. He disagrees with Gretchen, who is their ADA. And the remedy to that, if the board so decides, is to take that to the head of ODOT, which would be, of course, Tim Gatt. So we could do that, or we could also pursue the language in the statutes to have that 622 modified so that it is in compliance with 621, so that we could do it equitable. The 2 miles of Waterloo that were overlaid between Pine and Douglas were done so under the thought that it could be equitable. So as a consequence, they paid for 3/4 of the cost. We paid for 1/4 of the cost. Now we find from their ADA that she believes that that's not legal, and that they would not be able to spend that kind of money from gasoline tax onto that. So anyway, it's really in your hands as to what we want to do and the way of pursuing that. If you wish, fine. If not, why, there's everything I have on it. Then the board can make a decision on that.
I think, Mike, I might add that we also had a mile of Waterloo Road that we did under Ray Vaughn after that. After he had that legislation passed,
Yes, sir.
that we also paid 25%, they paid 75% on
Right.
getting the road resurfaced. And that was good. And we had assumed that would be the case carrying over when the new county commissioner was elected there in Oklahoma City after Ray retired. But again, there's been some different interpretations of that going on, and there's a couple of different methods, to pursue that. So the one that I absolutely would oppose is throwing it over the wall to the director of ODOT, transportation director, for him to arbitrate, because that shouldn't come to that point to where, first of all, our boards have never failed to agree. And that's part of the language in the law that requires that. Oklahoma County has refused to take it to their board because their ADA says that she doesn't support it. So if that board doesn't take it there or provide some action to Logan County that we disagree with, we've never officially disagreed. So at that point, I don't think that the director of ODOT, I don't think that he needs to be involved in it to start with. I really have a problem having a state agency arbitrate between two elected boards, an unelected state official arbitrating between two boards of elected officials. I don't think that that's proper. I think the first thing that I would do would be to ask for a Attorney General's opinion concerning that, because it's a difference of opinion between district attorney offices. And if our district attorneys, which I agree with you, I mean, I've also had several conversations on the same topic and gotten the same response from our ADA, who believes that it needs to be equitable. That's what the law says, and that's the way it should be. And that he disagrees with the Oklahoma County ADA. So it's assistant district attorneys. So I'm not sure where the district attorney in Oklahoma County is on that, but I assume he was going to back up his ADA. But again, getting the law changed or getting an AG's opinion on it is something that I would support doing. But yeah, getting the law changed is probably the best way to do it.
I'm not disagreeing. I thought that the AG would be the one to go to for that particular opinion. But the statute is absolutely clear that any disagreement with the border areas that the counties have to divide up would go to the head of ODOT and not the Attorney General. So I think in order to be able to get, now, you can certainly correct me and you can go through Lowell and such as that. But my understanding, the way the statute reads, it does read that way. And for us to go to the AG would require, again, a change in legislation, which I would not oppose. So it's what it is. We'll figure it out. That's the purpose, I think, of this kind of legislation to some extent, is to get these kind of problems figured out.
Right.
So I'm good with whatever you guys want to do with that, yes.
So then, I mean, going back to the item on the table today is to identify legislative requests.
Sure.
You need to send through act.
And we've done that.
And, yeah.
Yes.
So that would be to change this legislation to say equitable in different areas, okay?
Yeah, Ravon feels like 622 just needs to be repealed, but
Okay.
yes, we'll see how it all works out.
So is that in the form of a motion, or you want
Oh, to be accepted as or
to add this to the list?
Yeah, I would say yes. Did you make that motion, Mike?
yes, I can make that motion.
I will second.
So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Can I ask for clarification?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you doing these as one motion for each of these items in total the board's going to submit to ACO, or were you doing a motion on individual items that the board was submitting to ACO? And I only asked that because this first one about the CERB allocation, nothing was said about a motion, so that's all I was trying to figure out.
It doesn't matter to me as long as,
Okay, so we have the two items, modify the CERB fund allocation and pursue modification on 69, 622, how the counties work on county line roads. Those would be the two items. Okay.
Good with that?
yep.
All right.
Good.
Any further discussion?
All right.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. 15, consideration of possible action to approve the following permanent road crossing permits.
Looks like that one's on my side of the world.
Yes, sir.
You wanna get some cox cable over there, looks like.
Yeah, I move we approve.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Item 16, consideration of possible action on consent agenda items.
Payroll,
Yeah, he'll have to sign the biggest check. Yeah. meetings. They're looking at preparing their first budget and going through that process. I think they're going to contract services out. I don't know that they've made any of those decisions, but they are active.
Sure thought Coil Langston would get into, but nobody stepped up to the plate. Definitely made them aware of it, so
Yeah.
it's on them.
They are a functioning board. Blankets.
Well, I need one as cold as it is.
Yeah, I was gonna ask one.
Got the hat going.
Oh,
Yeah, bump up to at least 55.
Turned it down.
Nuclear cold.
So I see local governments are still keeping print media in business.
Yes. lobby is the strongest lobby in this state. It is not, it is OPA.
Yep. No doubt about it.
That whole law should be repealed. Or, it should be an either or, right?
Well, I
So if
think
you've
it
got a
should-
website like we do,
Exactly,
we should be able to advertise there.
exactly. I put all this other stuff up there.
Yes, you do. Thanking you and Monty for making that happen.
But yes, I get angry every time I have to send that stuff to publish.
Especially from the treasurer's office.
Yep.
So I need to be a legislative item that we give that.
We've tried that. We've worked hard.
Just doesn't work.
OPA is the strongest lobby in the state. They wouldn't even work with us for any kind of little changes when we pushed it. I go back to the last time. Bill Case worked on it hard. I met with Bill at a meeting. They will not give an inch because it is a statutory mandated subsidy of a private business. Is what it effectively, today, in
Yes.
2020, that's what it
That's what it
is.
is.
You know, I wonder how long the state legislatures subsidized buggy whips after the invention of the Model T. That's kind of where we're at with that.
Efforts have been made time and time again, and that is probably one of my biggest soapbox issues.
Well, I'm glad I was able to push that button for you this morning.
You knew that going in.
School districts have to spend a couple $100 to put their budget in there.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah. But here's the thing, county government is the only public entity in the state mandated to publish our minutes and every check we write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schools don't, city doesn't, election board, money sign. Alcoholic beverage tax.
And everybody reads that.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
And a bunch of people do.
With the magnifying glass.
But here's the thing, they make every
With the
public
magnifying
entity
glass.
publish
That's the
their
word,
minutes
sir.
and every check they write.
24/5.
24/5, that's a good number. You want to sign up, right?
Excuse me, sir, you're interrupting me.
Is this one of those citizens already retired here?
24 hours and a fine, sheriff, get on.
$5 too. It's a $5 fine.
That concludes consent agenda.
Yes, you were given the hand.
Here, I'll redo it.
Yeah. I'll give you that one. Yeah.
Oh, he's still, I'm sorry.
Did you not get it?
No, I got it. Second one got it, yeah.
First one got it.
Yeah, first one got it too. Gotta be quick on first one.
Nice block.
Yeah.
Rain in 20 minutes.
I'm almost there.
You're starting to warm up a little bit now.
All these for the sheriff.
Just now thawing out.
Last bit of the ice that was.
There is so much hot air in this room, there is no way you all are that cold.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Well, you notice I've been keeping my mouth shut, so.
Just saying.
Yeah. Probably
We were trying to make up for a couple weeks ago.
I move we approve the consent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, motion carries. 17, consideration and possible action on approving claim for payment for August 2020 or April 2020.
April?
August 2020.
Uh-oh, play by play.
Is that where you claim you haven't been paid?
Yeah.
That's it.
might have some in here, I ain't gonna call
Oh,
it
you're not
out
gonna call them
today.
out? Okay. I thought you usually go through them before the meeting.
Didn't have time today,
Okay.
that was general government. This one's health department. This one here belongs to the donut guy.
Whoops.
Orlando Fire Department.
When you get to mine, you can say Marvin, it'll be fine.
District Attorney. District Attorney. Treasurer.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Langston Fire Department.
It'll be okay on the radio broadcast.
Oh, the whistle? Yeah.
Langston. Meridian.
Bad,
All low.
7:39.
You need to get down on them.
Son.
You need to get down on them more. Every one of them.
Listen, you know, I fight those battles nonstop.
That's the battle. Yeah. Oh, here's
So that was
the
kind of a good one, that was a downward
District Attorney.
adjustment, right?
$5
Look at
off.
the yellow tab on it. What's it flagged for?
Oh, before PO, never mind.
Treasurer.
Oops, forgot to
Yeah, but
encumber.
in all fairness, I think Elaine was getting a little too narrow, so we've kind of talked about a couple of.
Operator ears there.
Uh-oh, yep.
County clerk.
I own it.
She was getting a little too narrow.
No, I flagged it myself.
Assessor.
Well, go on.
I've tried to tell y'all it happens.
Amy has recommended.
Now, here's where you give me credit. You give me credit that it made it to that pile.
Exactly.
You know who carried it across the street?
You did, yes.
General government.
I think your honesty is admirable, ma'am.
Election board.
Sometimes it just happens.
Just saying.
You got a frame for that one?
Same way.
You got your camera handy?
I'm out of film.
Good call, sir. Good call.
CBRI.
It's hard to find that
More than
Polaroid
one.
Instamatic stuff anymore.
Over.
Monty, you and then escaped.
That's all.
Over.
Yeah, so.
Or 8 cents off probably.
Well done.
You bet.
But when you look at the big picture of, how many claims were on the report, the overall that we paid, a couple hundred.
I remember back in the day, there was boo-hoo.
Oh, yeah. I had a stack like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
You've definitely shown your work here.
Sometimes it just happens.
CBRIF,
Mhm. What about it?
what does it mean?
That's the CBRI. When they changed the chart of accounts and laid out the names for everything, that's how the state now has it. CBRI, not Sir Marvin, CBRI.
Yeah, that's what I was,
But they add the F. The state did that, we didn't. Fund, I think, is what it really, County Bridge Road Improvement Fund.
okay,
They gotta have the last say.
yes, they will. And that was my project.
I'd entertain a motion on claims.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. 18, consideration of possible action on approving purchase card payment for August 2020.
I'll make the motion to approve.
A second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. 19, any citizen desiring to be heard?
Yes.
Could you state your name, please?
I'm Cody Ellis. So, my question is for District 2. What is the status of the 2015 grader that we have leased through Warren Cat?
What is the status of
The balloon payment.
You would have to get with me. What do you mean by the status?
How are we taking care of that balloon payment for the 2015 motor grader leased through Warren Cat?
Same way as all of them.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering that because there was was it out of hours? Was the contract up or what?
I'm not certain. Once you get with me,
Okay.
you can discuss that.
Is that it, Cody?
Yeah, that's it for right now.
Any other citizens desiring to be heard? Hearing none. Moving on to item 20, comments, announcements, questions by the Board of County Commissioners. Mike, got anything?
Well, you know, I've had a really good 3 terms, I think. Last one was problematic because of issues that occurred. But I've really done well. Commissioner-elect Cody Ellis will be my commissioner come January the 4th, I believe. And I look very forward to aiding him in every way, form, or fashion that is at my disposal to make certain that he is a success, that he has all the tools and knowledge that I have that will be made available to him, so if he so chooses to use. So I am going to have a really great retirement. I'm looking very much forward to it. There's a lot of things that I have not been able to do that now I will be able to do, and so I'm going to have a very exciting time, I think, in the rest of my life here. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm disappointed, of course, that I can't continue some of the projects that I had, but that would be for our commissioner-elect to pursue if it is his desire. So I'll leave it at that. We have a bridge that we're putting a concrete deck on just north of our shop on Midwest. I think we'll be able to allow traffic to go across that here at the end of the week. Big concrete and had some repairs done to it. And I do think that the individuals who did that will be a real asset to the county when it comes to replacing or repairing some of these old bridges that we have out here. So I look forward to us looking at, or whoever, the 6-month, or who gets the contracts for some of these bridges. I have this one bridge south of 105-33 now Midwest that is about to be
Bids on my desk. It'll go to publish on Wednesday, open September 30th.
And so we'll see how that all goes, how much that will cost us in the end. But according to our CD5 manager, the amount of money we have placed on there would be enough to replace the bridge if needed. But I do think they've engineered it so that it will be quite utilizable by the county from now on. It'll have a higher load limit. It'll be wider. It'll be in compliance with ODOT's specifications for a bridge. And I really look forward to that whole Midwest corridor from 105 down to Waterloo, if possible, to be opened up here one of these days. But it's going to be a huge challenge to do that. And I wish our new commissioner great success on that. So,
Thank you, Mike.
yes. So as I'll repeat, any information that you need to know about any individuals along there or who to contact and how will be at your disposal.
Okay.
So
All right, is that it, Mike?
I still have 4 months to go.
Yep.
And
All right, but we do appreciate your service again.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Marvin?
Nothing other than to kind of follow up on the lease purchase issue. Our Board of Commissioners approved or reapproved lease purchases for all the county's equipment. It's a responsibility of the Board of County Commissioners to ensure that contracts are executed as written. So, Mike, I'm a little bit curious as to what might have precipitated a grader going back to Warren Cat. So, if you wouldn't mind, I would like to see the number of hours remaining on all the rest of your equipment, hours and months, because that's normally how lease purchase works. So if you've got others that are coming up on expiration, I think that's something that the Board of Commissioners needs to take in consideration. Because there probably is going to be some actions that this board will have to take either in the next 4 months or shortly after.
certainly
to
it's
correct
coming up
some
to
of
that
that.
period of time we're in.
But I would like to have that put on the agenda for our next meeting.
To receive that information,
Yes.
would that be the item?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, anything else?
That's all I have, sir.
Cody, we'll probably officially welcome you to come in January, but congratulations on your rank.
Thank you, thank you.
All righty, item 21, consideration of possible action on adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned.